It's 11:47 p.m., 13 minutes before doors open on a $2.4 million New York wedding, and you realize the bride's estranged aunt is seated at the exact same table as the father she hasn't spoken to in 11 years. You're 22, an assistant to an assistant, standing in a grand ballroom that smells like 3,000 white roses, floor wax, and pure panic. The bride's mother, who hasn't slept in 30 hours, wearing a custom Vera Wang gown and sporting the wild, glittering eyes of a cornered animal, walks straight up to you. Her voice is dangerously quiet. "Is everything ready?" she asks. You look at the disastrous seating chart, a hand-calligraphed gold leaf board that cost more than your rent. You look at the mother. You look at the massive oak doors holding back 300 of Manhattan's wealthiest elites. Everything is flawless, you say, the lie slipping out as smooth as the silk tablecloths. Then you turn and you absolutely sprint across the marble floors to find the British calligrapher who charges $400 an hour and has already packed her specialty pens. You physically block her exit from the coat room, shoving a $100 bill and a blank gold place card into her hand. Welcome to Level 1. Level 1, the assistant. Your actual job? Be everywhere at once and nowhere visible. You are a ghost in comfortable black shoes. You work for Vivian Marlowe, NYC's legendary event planner for tech billionaires, hedge fund managers, and pop stars you are legally bound by heavily guarded NDAs not to name. Vivian is in her 50s, immaculately dressed in Tom Ford, terrifyingly competent, and she communicates entirely in clipped sentences and withering glances. "The peonies are wrong," she says, not even breaking her stride as she walks past a floral arrangement. You freeze. That sentence means you have exactly 90 minutes to magically spawn 300 pure white peonies before the VIP cocktail hour begins. You scramble, you call the primary florist, you call the backup. You finally find a woman in New Jersey with a private greenhouse. You end up paying her $500 in physical cash from petty funds just to illegally park her van on Fifth Avenue and run them inside. When they arrive damp and perfect, Vivian gives you a single slow nod. In this brutal industry, that nod is a standing ovation. The physical reality of the work is punishing. 14-hour days, 6 days a week. You learn the language of the grind. The chaotic room flips where a serene ceremony space becomes a raging nightclub in exactly 43 minutes. And strict Vanner load-ins at 4 a.m. on loading docks that smell like stale beer and exhaust. You quickly realize the most expensive weddings aren't the most beautiful. They're just the most fragile. They are towering houses of cards, always on the verge of collapsing under the weight of their own absurd expectations. You learn to smile when a drunk hedge fund groomsman spills vintage red wine down the front of a $40,000 custom dress. You learn to smile when a mother screams directly in your face because the imported Italian napkin folds are too modern. You hand steam a 20-foot veil on your hands and knees at 2 a.m. You smile, always, because the client is always right, even when they're completely insane. The pay? A massive $45,000 a year. When you actually do the math on your hours, you're making about $11 an hour. You live in a tiny, depressing Queens apartment with 2 roommates, and you spend your only disposable income on the all-black, unbranded clothing that serves as the official uniform of the invisible event staff. You have no social life, no dating. If you try to schedule a date, you end up canceling because a lighting rig caught fire in Brooklyn. Just the next event, a corporate holiday party, a multi-million-dollar bat mitzvah featuring a live baby elephant. You wake up in the dark at 5 a.m. and collapse into bed at midnight, your feet wrapped in blister tape. You love it, you hate it. But the adrenaline is a drug, and you can't imagine doing anything else. Level 2, the coordinator. You've leveled up, you are now an event coordinator. The title comes with a slight pay bump, vastly more responsibility, and somehow, even less sleep. Your first solo mission? A tech company gala, 500 guests, a $700,000 budget. The CEO, a 29-year-old crypto millionaire, demands a Silicon Valley meets Gatsby vibe, and you have exactly 6 weeks to build it from scratch. You survive those 6 weeks purely on iced espresso, protein bars, and the absolute paralyzing terror of failure. You source vintage 1920s cars, holographic projection mapping, and a champagne tower that touches the ceiling. You pull it off. The CEO tells the board it's the best event they've ever hosted. Vivian hands you a year-end bonus envelope and gives you a look that roughly translates to, You're not completely useless yet. You are now a certified master of chaos management. In a single frantic hour of a live event, you are simultaneously negotiating a noise ordinance fine with a local police officer, soothing a panicking head florist, and having a screaming match in a service hallway with a Michelin star hotel chef. You have to explain to him why he absolutely must prepare 200 gluten-free, vegan, nut-free, soy-free meals with zero cross-contamination, or the client will sue the hotel into oblivion. Your secret weapon through all of this? The binder, a massive 3-inch thick physical book. Because you've learned the hard way that venue Wi-Fi fails, cell towers get overloaded by 500 guests uploading to Instagram, and phones die. The binder contains the floor plans, vendor contracts, minute-by-minute timelines, and contingency plans for everything from a hurricane to a missing groom. The binder is your Bible. It is your physical shield against complete career-ending disaster. People are starting to notice you. High-end vendors actually return your calls on the first ring. Venues offer you their most protected Saturday night dates. Clients begin requesting you by name. You realize this entire multi-billion-dollar industry runs on one single currency, the network. You memorize peanut allergies, wedding anniversaries, and exactly how tech billionaires take their coffee. You learn the ultimate survival skill of the luxury world. How to be charming without ever kissing up, confident without being arrogant, and entirely invisible without ever being forgotten. The balance is delicate. The balance is everything. Level 3, the lead planner. You're 28 now, making $85,000 a base salary, with performance bonuses that can double it in a good year. You are the lead planner. You run the largest, most complex, most high-risk events in Vivienne's portfolio. You even have your own assistant now, a 23-year-old kid with that same desperate, eager, terrified look you used to have. You try to treat them with the patience you wish you'd received. But as the months go on, you finally understand Vivienne icy coldness. At this level, when millions of dollars are on the line, the pressure leaves absolutely zero room for softness. Mistakes don't cost hundreds of dollars anymore. They cost hundreds of thousands. Your playground has gone global. You are organizing cliffside weddings in Tuscany, cutthroat corporate retreats in Aspen. You are shipping 400 custom-designed velvet chairs to Dubai and spending 3 days violently battling international customs. When a shipment of bespoke linen gets seized in Frankfurt just 36 hours before doors open, you don't even blink. You don't panic. You call your digital Rolodex of fixers, people in every major time zone who can procure absolutely anything, legal or otherwise, for a price. You realize that money doesn't solve everything, but it solves 99% of things. In this game, client perception is the only reality that matters. If the venue's main kitchen catches on fire at 11 p.m., and you secretly pay off a local manager to deliver 500 gourmet wood-fired pizzas through the back door at 1 a.m., the client doesn't see a disaster. They see a brilliant, quirky, late-night surprise. You become a professional illusionist. But the cost of being this good? Your personal life is an absolute ghost town. Dating is a joke. No relationship survives the brutal reality of your travel schedule and your vibrating phone. You actually missed your own sister's wedding in Ohio because you were contractually locked into working a celebrity's wedding in Miami. The irony burns a hole in your chest. Your mom calls you on a Sunday morning. Busy is a choice, she tells you, her voice thick with disappointment. And you know she's right. But you don't have the energy to explain that the choice was made a long time ago. It was made by a 22-year-old girl who just wanted to see what it looked like inside the Pierre Hotel and got trapped by the glamour. Level 4, the director. You are 34. You left the agency. Not because you were unhappy, but because you were finally ready to build your own empire. You launch your own boutique firm, specializing in highly curated, ultra-luxury experiences. Your client list now includes A-list actors, Silicon Valley founders, and the kind of generational old money families whose last names are literally carved into the marble wings of national museums. You started with a laptop on your living room couch. Now you have a massive waitlist, an impossibly chic office in Soho, and a full-time staff of 8. Let's talk about the math, because the math is staggering. You no longer work for a salary. You charge a strict $25,000 flat retainer fee just to speak to you, plus 15% of the total event budget. That means a single $2 million destination wedding drops $300,000 in pure revenue into your business account. You're pulling in north of $600,000 a year for yourself. You have the Brooklyn brownstone, the investment portfolios. You are finally, undeniably, building real generational wealth. You even have the power to fire clients now. When a narcissistic venture capitalist screams at your lead coordinator over a minor lighting issue, you calmly slide his deposit check across the mahogany table, cancel his contract, and tell him to leave your office. It is the most intoxicating feeling in the world. But the isolation at the top is profound. Your relationships with other vendors and planners are entirely transactional, built on mutual professional survival rather than genuine human connection. You have a partner now, someone in finance who actually understands your insane schedule. But the relationship is held together by shared Google calendars and rushed weekend getaways to Cabo. You finally learn to delegate, to let go of the obsessive micromanaging that got you here. It's a massive relief, but honestly, it's also a deep, quiet grief. You realize you actually miss the dirt. You miss the chaos, the impossible deadlines, the smell of the loading docks, and the adrenaline rush of solving a crisis in the trenches. Sitting in a pristine, quiet boardroom looking at spreadsheets is a lot quieter than running a chaotic ballroom. The silence of success is comfortable, but it's still silence. Level 5. The icon. You're 45 now. You are no longer just a planner. You are the industry standard. The clients who hired you 20 years ago are now calling you to plan their children's weddings. It's a generational passing of the torch that makes you feel incredibly honored and incredibly ancient. You are featured on the glossy covers of Vogue and Town & Country. You are paid thousands just to speak at international design conferences. You can silence a room of panicking vendors with a single calm glance. The title of icon is incredibly flattering. It is also completely exhausting. The events have transcended luxury. They have become totally, almost offensively absurd. You recently pulled off a $15 million, 3-day royal wedding in the south of France. It involved chartering private jets, securing airspace clearance for drones, and handling a series of cultural and diplomatic seating arrangements that required the delicate tact of a State Department negotiator. The event was mechanically flawless, but as the million-dollar fireworks display lit up the Mediterranean sky, the 24-year-old bride, who had barely spoken to her groom before the engagement, turned to you. Her eyes reflected the exploding lights. "Is that all?" she asked. That moment haunts you. It lodges in your brain like a splinter. You realize that this extreme excess, this industry you bled for, is just an illusion. You can buy the best flowers in the world, but you cannot buy genuine happiness for these people. You shift your focus. You start mentoring young, desperate 22-year-old planners who remind you exactly of yourself. You pull them aside and tell them the brutal truth. Build a life outside this job, or it will eat you alive. You tell them that the luxury is fake, but the burnout is real. You say it because you wish to God someone had grabbed you by the shoulders and told you that 20 years ago. The events will never stop. The next gala, the next impossible demand, the next multi-million-dollar budget is always just around the corner. But you have finally learned how to survive it. Right before the doors open on a new event, when the room is completely empty, when the frantic staff has cleared out, when the thousands of candles are flickering in the dark, and the light hits the crystal chandeliers just right, and everything is perfectly, beautifully still. You stop, you breathe, you feel it. The quiet, uncomplicated joy of a beautiful thing well made. That single fleeting moment is why you started. It has to be enough, and finally, it is.